folks, welcome back to another episode of K9s and Coffee with American Standard Dog Training and American Overwatch K9 Services and our friend Taijon from Kaizen K9 out of Atlanta. So this episode is kind of a closeout video as we're nearing the end of his training adventures and his, I guess you could call it his, give me a word here. What would you call this relationship we have? Mentorship?
Yeah, well, in-person mentorship.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, you know, Garrett's now a friend and family, so.
Absolutely, 100%. So as we're nearing the end of this mentorship, we're going to touch base with Taijon and have him tell you in his own words, this is completely unscripted, just off the top of the head or from the heart, about his experience here. He's going to tell you about his experience with us, what he learned, and then I will tell you the growth that I've seen. And without, mincing words, I'm going to plug his business because, as you're going to find out, he's doing such an amazing job. And if you're up in the Atlanta area, we'll just jump right into it, and you can't get your dog all the way down to South Florida, no need to anymore. You're going to see him because he's been trained by yours truly. And so everything you've ever seen me do from American Standard Dog Training, he is now capable of doing. And I think I mentioned in the first video, hopefully he's not too loud. We just finished training, so he's a little tired. And we put some beer in there. So speaking of beers, actually.
Crack it open.
Yeah, cheers. That's not a beer, sir. That's a bubbly.
That's the bubbly.
So, cheers, sir. This is K9s and Coffee, but it's late in the day. And, we all deserve it at this point. So what I was starting to say was, in the first episode, I talked about if I can make him better than me. And I think that goes with any mentorship program, is he's already bringing something to the table. And if I can give him everything I have, then that should combine with what he already knows. Take everything I've given him, make it his own, and take him to the next level. So I'm sure there's some Japanese or martial arts way of saying it, but, I think the grasshopper eventually becomes better than the master, if you will. And that's what I hope you'll eventually get out of this, if you haven't already. So that's enough talking from me. Why don't you tell them about your experience here with us in our Academy for Professional Dog Trainers.
Amazing experience, I tell you what.
He just threw up all the water and drinking it back up.
Taking a shower, buddy. One of the best experiences so far is watching this man on Amazon. I'll say that. That's one, right?
What do you mean by that?
These chairs are fresh in off Amazon. As you can see, I'm over here riding around with my convertible. Top off, top on, right? So that's one of the cool experiences with him. So far, the mentorship has been nothing but impactful. I've learned how, this guy's a nitpicker, so I take a step an inch in the wrong direction, he's on me. Right when I think I mastered something, he's like, how could you telling me how I could get better at it. So it's like you never really master anything, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay at getting better each step of the way. For me, I've learned the nuances of training coming from the timing aspect, timing my corrections, timing my praises, timing my delivery, where to put the food pouch, when to move the food pouch. There's dog training in itself with Garrett is paradoxical because there's so many moments where he will, really just go against what he said because this is an art. So he's really taught me how to paint my own picture, to say.
That's a nice way of putting it. There's a lot of contradictions in dog training. There's a lot of, well, do it this way for this instance, but do it the complete opposite way of what I just told you on the very next rep, because we're always trying to find a balance with dog training. And it probably threw him for a loop a few times, like, well, you told me this 5 different ways how to do it. And yeah, exactly. I want you to know 5 different ways how to teach any particular given command or exercise. What are some of the theories you learned?
Well, the biggest one, which is not out yet, is the totem pole theory.
Totem pole theory.
Totem pole theory,
Invented by yours truly, and I can't explain it here, but it's a way of stacking, for instance, one command and how to teach the down literally 6 different ways and pushing up that totem pole. We talk sometimes about building a Jenga tower, and you want that Jenga tower to be perfect so it's rock solid at the top, and it takes a lot of little building blocks to get you there. And if you ever have a dog that has a command that's not right, or it only recalls half the time, or whatever it is that the dog's not doing right, that's because somewhere down in the Jenga tower, there's either a piece missing, or something's not done right, or it's the wrong piece altogether. And if something's wrong in your base layer, then your Jenga tower is going to be a little wonky up top. So almost every day you bring a dog out, you push him through that totem pole, you push them through that Jenga tower, and you see what's working, what's not working, and when you find something that's not working, you fix it. And so it's the same with him. For lack of a better way of explaining it, I was training you kind of like how I train my dogs. That's why if you make one mistake, I jump on you right then and there, and we fix it right then and there so that you don't continue to develop bad training habits. But as you notice, as time went on, less and less interruptions because he's doing better and better. And so now I'm at a point now, it's true talk, that not only has he come such a long way and he's doing such a good job, that there were points in time where I actually had to leave and I couldn't train dogs, let's say that morning, and I trusted him 110% to train my dogs and my clients' dogs. Yeah, please take him out and put him through the paces because you know exactly what to do. And we were speaking from one trainer to another. And in some instances, I said, you know what, I don't know what that dog needs, but you know what it needs. You work it, you find out what it needs, and you work on it. Let me know what you worked on later. And in other instances, I knew what the dog needed, and I would actually challenge him to find out what the dog needed, or tell him exactly what it is that the dog needed and say, you fix it. When I come back this afternoon, I want to see if you, for instance, taught Lucy how to go in the crate on her own. And guess what? When I came back in that afternoon, the dog was going into the crate like a champ. Whereas just earlier that morning, the dog didn't want anything to do with the crate. So, fantastic. Give us some other examples.
Other theories that have been solidified is operant conditioning, classical conditioning, right? We all know them, but he's helped me understand it in a way where I could also learn more about, ne popo training.
Mm-hmm.
He's a master of different tools, and he's taught me that. Further dived into free shaping prior to coming to this mentorship. I've never free shaped. I've always gave the dog some form of direction. So that in itself has been it's an art, and also impacted me in developing a higher level of patience. Simply waiting for the dog to do what it wants to do is so impactful. And that goes on to another thing is the quality versus quantity of reps. I was a trainer that was focused on, let's just get this dog out and do reps.
Yeah.
Here, I'm able to get a better trained dog in less reps because I know how to set them up to get quality reps. Excuse me, the beer. Quality reps. And that's the big difference. Before is I'd be training for, let's say, an hour each dog. Now I can cut my training time in half and get better results.
Absolutely. And then he mentioned earlier about being family, and that's what happens here when you're spending 10 hours a day with me, because we're training 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. From when the sun comes up to the sun goes down, we are rocking and rolling. And even when we're taking breaks or lunch breaks, we're talking business. We're making sales calls. We're running through what ifs. We're brainstorming 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. Where do you want to take your business? We're setting up goals. We're giving him challenges. I'm looking at his website and critiquing him, change this, fix that. We're filming things like this. We're getting him on camera. We're boosting his social media. He's boosting our social media. And so it's a fantastic relationship. And I don't know how it is in other industries, but the dog training industry is pretty cutthroat. And we probably said it on the first episode. If we didn't, we'll say it on this one. There's this old dog trainers saying that's been around for at least 20 years. There's only one thing that if you put two dog trainers in the same room, only one thing that they will agree upon. And then that's how screwed up the third dog trainer is who's not in the room, or how wrong he is, or how much better they are than him. That's just an old dog training saying.
Yeah.
I might not be saying it perfectly, but you get the idea. Dog trainers in general love to bash each other, love to nitpick, and it's pretty cutthroat, Everyone thinks they're the best. You start to be the worst the minute that you think you're the best, and that you have nothing else to learn or to gain from talking to somebody else. So, like I've always said too, even the worst dog trainer on the planet, I'll still train with them in hopes of learning something, even if it's, I'll never do that. I'll add that to my I'll never do list. And we make mistakes. We've made mistakes since we've been here. I've made mistakes, but we learn from each other. And I'm the first one to admit, like, whoa, I did that wrong. I messed that one up. Don't do that. In fact, we were just filming something off camera there, filming outside of this series, and made a big mistake. So, and as far as the family aspect, he's having dinner with my family, lunch with my family, because we're training from my home with my family, and he's been like babysitting my kids. Not really, not that you're going to come here and babysit my kids, but they're a part of the training program. They're here. They're part of life. And learning how to train dogs with a little kid pulling on your shirt, asking you to play with them.
Patience,
yeah.
Patience.
Yeah,
for
dog
real.
training is timing. In fact, if you can sum it up into, just throw out some buzzwords. Dog training is what?
Dog training is timing.
Absolutely.
Dog training is patience.
Yeah, those are the big ones.
Yeah, and honestly, dog training, what separates, my biggest thing for him is what separates any trainer from the other is timing, right? The biggest recommendation is usually, in 3 to 5 seconds you want to catch it. But the superior trainer wants to catch it within milliseconds of that behavior. So that was the biggest takeaway for me.
Yep.
Is I was one that, I can catch it 2 seconds, not 3, but 2 seconds. Now, 3 seconds. A big impact for me was the spot training, being able to time that. And like sometimes Garrett's like, shit, you're too early.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're too early.
I got him on being late so many times. By late, I'm talking tenth of a second, half a second. I got on him so hard that he was too early on some. He was correcting dogs for the thought of the behavior, which there are trainers who will do that on purpose, and it's not a bad thing. I don't necessarily subscribe to it, but it was literally 2 times, and I can remember when you did them, and I wasn't even mad at him. I'm like, you were right. You were just
too early.
A tenth of a second too early. It still worked out, luckily, but really, yeah, timing is everything in dog training. If you don't have timing, you have nothing. And he really, really got good at that. And I think the reason for that is once you get those reps under your belt and you've trained enough dogs, you already know 2 or 3 reps ahead of the rep you're on what the dog's going to do. And so you're already anticipating it and you've already planned it out. Because I'm not a psychologist or whatever, but I've read in other things unrelated to dog training that it takes about 1.5 seconds to react to something you see. Meaning you see it, by the time you see it, you have to process what you saw, then you have to decide, you have to make a decision of what you're going to do, then you have to enact that decision. And in all that time, it's about 1.5 seconds. So if you see the dog come off the place board, oh, what is he doing? What am I supposed to do? Let me grab the e-collar, let me press button. Yeah, 1.5 seconds is better than nothing, but what would be better, as we discussed, and it's for you at home, you already know the dog's coming off. So you already have finger on trigger. You've already thought through what's going to happen so that when it does happen, to the millisecond that you're addressing it. We got rained out, so we're 2 minutes later. We moved up under the overhang here, and we can dive back into some of the stuff we were talking about.
Top's down now, all right, underneath the shade. What I was getting to before was Garrett has taught me a lot about a way of thinking. And the way of thinking is to be prepared for both the good and bad. Now that sounds easier said than done because he's opened my eyes onto, for example, when teaching the dog recall. We want the dog to be set up for success. When we ask for it to do something, we need to make sure that we've controlled the environment for what we want to happen. If we don't, the dog is going to get a bad rep. And that goes back to my quality of reps. So he set me up to think about, what's the worst case scenario about this and what's that? And I think that also goes back to his background in public service, where he's had to think about that. He's opened my eyes about that as well. So now I can go into my training sessions well prepared. They say all the work happens in being prepared. So that's what I've learned. I don't even think he's realized that skill of being prepared. It's like subconscious for him.
Yeah. I mean, as you're talking, it makes sense, but everything's, for the most part, planned out. Or when little surprises happen, when you do this enough times, you're not completely caught off guard. You're like, well, wasn't really expecting that, but I've dealt with that before, and I already know what the solution is. But ideally, you're going into it with all possible outcomes covered. Meaning, if the dog does this and goes on the place board on the first rep, I already know I'm going to jackpot it. Versus, if he comes off when he's not supposed to, I'm already prepared and I know what I'm going to do. And if everything fails, there is no failure. There is no option for failure. There was times, too, I think early on, we had a long day. Hey, Austin, beer assistant, sir. There was a time with Mossy, a Rottweiler, that we had a long session because it started out okay, then it got rough, it got ugly, and there was times when he's like, hey, maybe you should just put the dog up. And I said, no, this is the critical time. This is where we have to push through, and the dog will learn today, right here and now, that what's acceptable behavior and what's not acceptable behavior. Shutting down on me, acting foolish, does not make the bad guy go away. Does not make the trainer disappear. Just because you don't feel like training today doesn't mean where you're going to hide from your problems. And that's not always the case. There's times when just you need to put the dog up, or maybe even you as a trainer, you're getting frustrated. If you're in a bad mood or you're having a bad day, horrible time to train dogs. Thank you, sir. If you can train dogs in a perfect mood all the time, that'd be beautiful, but you don't always have that opportunity. Sometimes things happen and you got to push through. So it's kind of a give and take. A lot of contradictions in the training, and I tell them all the time, like, this is going to sound like a contradiction, because it is, but there's a reason for it. So what are some other takeaways?
So being prepared, I'm going to summarize, timing, being prepared are the biggest takeaways. Another thing that, besides dog training, I would say post-Garrett, I've become more confident over the phone. Speaking with clients has been a big thing. Honestly, I'm a pretty good dog trainer, as compared to the rest as far as the results I can get. He's taking me to the next level of engagement, paying attention, focused on me more than the other people or the other dogs in the environment. That's why I came here, because I wanted to take it to the next level. But he's really taught me that, we offer a high level of service that is not comparable to the rest, And on top of that, we go above and beyond for our clients. He's gone above and beyond for me. I think, didn't really want to say this on camera, but 60 hours of training, we're well over 120. So he's gone above and beyond for me. I hope I don't get you in any trouble with the next students, but no. I expect for him to go above and beyond for them.
We always go above and beyond. His success is my success. Whether he comes here for 10 hours of training or 1,000 hours of training, it's not the number. It's where do you want to be? Where can I take you? And that's where we'll just switch gears for a second. I no longer am offering 3-week on-leash training programs for my dogs, because it's just 3 weeks. It's just on leash, and the dog is capable of so much more than that. I'm capable of so much more than that. And basically, that'd be like I'm a mechanic and you bring your car to me and you say, I only want new tires on the left side. Like, your car's not going to perform right. Let's get new tires on all the way around. Let's get the oil change done now. Let's get that thing running perfectly before I give it back to you. I don't like doing half-assed training, whether it's with the dog or with a student or someone here trying to mentor. And we originally slated for 60 hours because that's all he could slot for, because he's actually a busy dog trainer. He's an actual professional dog trainer in another state, so he had to stop everything he was doing to come down here. But I guess he felt it was worth his time to stay longer and push some of his clients back, because he felt maybe spending that extra week or two with us would make the difference, and I think it has. And, something still better than nothing, but it just ended up that we could, I don't know what you're going for. He wants that water. Can you get him some water set up here, Austin? But the point is, we originally agreed upon a certain amount of hours that he would train with us, and it wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough for him. And we thought it might be because he already comes in with a baseline. But what I realized when he got here was, yes, he was a great dog trainer, but we had to go way back down on the Jenga tower on him. We had to go back to the very beginning and just clean some certain things up. So it took a little longer than we thought. But enough said. The whole point of this video is this has been a fantastic success story. We have yet to see how far he will go. I know he'll go very far. I'm very proud of him. It's been a great experience on my end. He's just a great human being, too. I trust him 100%, not only with my dogs, but with my family. If you are in the Atlanta area or anywhere in Georgia and you can get your dog to Taijon, it would be in your best interest to do so. If you're on the fence, you have to do it. He's phenomenal. He is phenomenal. And he's got the natural talent, and that's something you can't train someone. If he didn't have it, we would have ended this a long time ago. We wouldn't be putting this on camera, wouldn't be wasting our time, because I told him to get my recommendation, he'd have to earn it. Just because you pay for training and you come for a paid mentorship doesn't mean that you get my stamp of approval. Absolutely not. If he failed out of here with a C, D, or an F, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But the fact of the matter is, he's passed everything. He continues to excel. He's phenomenal, and he's only going to continue to improve from here. So I'm very proud of him, and I'm very proud to put my stamp of approval on him for whatever that's worth. Anybody that contacts me in his area, North Florida, Georgia, don't come to me, go to him. He's closer, and he's just as good, if not better than I am. Furthermore, the training doesn't end here. I foresee myself running into issues in the future. Well, I might call him. He's now on our very small, very tight circle of trusted dog trainers that, and I can count now on 1, 2, 3. He's now the fourth guy that's in the inner circle. There's now a total of 5 of us that are in that same circle. And if we run into a dog training issue, we know who we can reach out to. And if I don't have the answer for him, I know who I can send him to. Hey, call this guy, call that guy. Those guys, by the way, will be seen on some future K9s and Coffee episodes. We're talking about Chad from Walker Canine Training and also Jeremy from Triple B Training. And hopefully in the future, my mentor, Justin Rigney from Canine Services Unlimited, based out of Nashville, Tennessee. No, not Nashville, Knoxville. I get them mixed up, Knoxville. One of the best trainers in the world. And he's my #1 go-to guy when I have an issue. So, and I think Justin's the first one to say it too. You can't just be in your closet or in your back bedroom training dogs and become the best. You have to learn from the best. And I've had the opportunity to watch, study, and learn from the best, and continue to learn from the best. So just like he came here to mentor, I plan in the future when I have time to go study under some of my favorite trainers, and we have them coming here. In fact, we were just having a conversation yesterday with one of the guys in the circle of 5 who he just wants to come over here and train dogs. You know, we're going to feed off of each other. And I love when we get to talking on the phone, he and I, we're talking about Chad. I'm like, hey, Chad, how do you teach the place board? And he'll tell me his one. I'm like, oh, man, I've never heard of that. I have to try that, and I will try it on my next dog. And then I'll tell him my way. He goes, oh, that makes sense. I'm going to try it. So we constantly feed off of each other. Nothing's right or wrong. It's just a different way. And, you know, the point of this is never stop learning. And I just can't thank you enough. This is a lifelong journey, I think. I want to see where this takes him.
I got to say thank you, too. I got to interrupt him. I got to say thank you, Garrett. He took his time away from his family, away from the 10 dogs or 7 dogs that he has going on here, to spend time with me and really be nitpicky on every little thing. I think we even came up with this term, intentional movement. You know, every little movement matters. So I want to say thank you to him. Of course, Garrett is the man in dog training. I think, you know, don't let the numbers hinder you. This man is going to take it over. He is no, you know, Zach George, I will say that.
I'm the anti-Zach George.
He is the man when it comes to dogs, and we're looking forward to, you know, seeing where he goes too. You know, I gave him some of my, you know, 2 cents on where I think he should go. I think he's focused and going ham on providing the world his talents, you know, and it's beyond just South Florida. It's just the world in itself. And I look forward to studying and learning from him and these other gentlemen in the circle. You know, they're the top liners of dog training in itself. Dog training, unfortunately, is a community where people like to tear down each other instead of learning. What he's telling you right now is what we have is a group of people who treat this like a science and also an art, where we don't, you know, pin down or talk bad about what they do. Rather, we just say, okay, that's interesting, and try it out. And I think that is where the results happen. That's where the beauty happens. And again, I'm so grateful for him. And I got to give a big, big shout out to Steph. You know, she is the hero behind the whole family.
That's my wife, yeah.
She makes incredible potatoes. You know, she hooked me up with
she helped us with the coffee.
Everything.
Morning, afternoon. I mean, he would tap out around 2 p.m. like, hey, Garrett, I don't know if you know this, it's 2 o'clock and we haven't had lunch yet. I'm like, lunch? Who needs lunch? Mind you, we hadn't had breakfast either, which is pushing through. I'm like, who needs lunch when you can have coffee? Steph, another coffee, please. And we would just push. So I drive, you know, don't come here and think it's going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. I will push you until the wheels fall off, basically, and then we'll put some new wheels on you.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. Because I'm 38 years old, but, you know, he's like, damn, Garrett, the sun's going down. I'm like, yeah, we still got 3 dogs left, man. Let's go. So I just want to maximize every opportunity. And you're not going to see everything on film. Not everything is on film because we're too busy training. We can't always grab a camera and catch it on film. But like one of the things we didn't catch on film was us training with the police canine unit down the street from us. That's an opportunity. You could call it opportunity of a lifetime. It's not every canine unit just going to open their doors to a civilian to come in and let you watch and see what they do. So we got to see some tracking. We got to see some area searches, a dog bite or two. And those guys guess what? They loved you. So he's welcome to come back and train with them at any time.
I want to say thank you to those gentlemen. I know it's not easy for you to let a civilian come in and see what's going on. That was an opportunity of a lifetime. I've seen the PSA clubs where, civilians get up and try to implement or try to replicate what's going on. But, there's a lot that goes in, and these guys risk their lives doing escorts and going and getting these bad guys off the street. And I want to say thank you, and I hope that they continue to grow and develop their dog training skills.
Yeah. So there'll be maybe some future videos where we get to hang with them. I don't try to put them on camera too much because it's just, that's not what it's about for them. But anyways, I think we're closing it out. We still got Mr. Thanos here. And I guess we'll leave it with this. The last thing one of the things Taijon touched on was we are, through actually advice from him and the sit-downs and the discussions about where is his business going to be a year, 2, 3, 5 from now, I had to think myself at the same time. As I'm constantly, as a business owner, seeing how to streamline the process. And ultimately, what I think we decided together, with some input from him for sure, was I'm going to train less dogs per month, but we're going to get those dogs on camera more, and we're really, really going to pump up the YouTube, Instagram. I've hired a social media manager, and we're just going to start to flood the social media and get that YouTube. We're around 12,000 subscribers right now and growing. We need to add a 0 to the end of that. So share, subscribe, get your grandma watching these videos, get whoever you can watching these videos, and we're going to continue to push out content and build up the website. And ultimately what we're going to try to do is continue to partnership with Fenrir Canine and get some more how-to videos out there. So those will be coming soon. And you might be the first to hear it now, depending upon when this video comes out, but we are working and have been working for months on a master e-collar series, the likes of which you have never seen before on the internet. It does not exist. We have been filming for months and months and months, and we are looking at the beginning of 2022 for that to be released. So please stay tuned, watch for that. We will send you links and how to become a part of that. We are going to offer some kind of incentive for the first people to jump on board, kind of a early bird special, if you will, for the first initial adopters. Just for that initial opening, we're going to have something set up. I can't go into details because I'm not quite sure what it's going to be.
You might get one of these bad boys, huh?
Yeah. And we're going to be showing you how to get your dogs to behave off leash. Any dog at home. I don't care age, breed, size, whatever. We're going to get your dogs off leash. So we're going to have an amazing program coming out. And we actually just finished filming about 3 demos earlier today. So you'll be seeing that coming out in the next few weeks and months from us and Fenrir K9. We're going to be plugging that. So stay tuned for that. And we're going to continue to check in with Taijon from Kaizen K9 out of Atlanta, checking in to see how he does. Maybe we'll do a Skype call and see how your business goes a couple months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now.
It's a good thing that I'm from South Florida, so he'll definitely be seeing me a lot more often now, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, when he comes down to visit his family, he'll be visiting us, his extended family.
Extended family, yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. For those who stayed in this entire time, I hope you got something out of it. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Check out in the comments below. We're going to have a link to all his socials. He's just started a YouTube channel, so you're going to see some stuff there. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe over on his channel. And stay tuned for some more exciting episodes from K9s and Coffee and American Standard Dog Training. See you on the next one.